10 teams, 50 cars, and some of them loaded with weight, ready to smash into each other in the Junkyard Joust. Hi everybody, I'm Aaron Yonda. Here are the 10 teams taking part in this competition. They have all bashed their way into the semifinals. Let's take a closer look at these teams. Ranked 16th, the Apex Warriors are a scrappy team with some ramping and a little undercutting. The Dogfighters, man's best enemy, they are ranked 17th. From 905 Diecast, the A-Team are a blitzkrieg of a team. They are ranked 6th. Milestone Diecast is ranked number 5 and they have a good mix. Ranked 13, the Mr. Bean team has some good survivability. Previous custom joust team Numbskull Racing, ranked 29th. Will they make it to the championship again? Ranked 26, it's Rollin' Gold, a team with a lot of agility. From EMP Blade Knight, it is the Splitters. This is a dangerous team, that's part of the reason they are ranked number 2. Number 20 ranked, it's the Under a Taxi Cab Company, a team of taxis. Ranked 24th is Velvet Storm. They've got a couple cars with some good agility. Those are the 10 teams. The crowd has assembled to watch the debacle. Who will bring the pain and who will feel the drain? It's time to joust. Here we go, round 1. Starting off with Lola from the Dogfighters, sponsored by Hendrika's Heavy Hauling. Lola slots in down at the end of the track, got a little rampage right there. Randomized running order is up. And here comes Speedbox for Numbskull, sponsored by Regal Radio. Speedbox goes off the ramp and dislodges it at the same time. Speedbox landing strange against the crates, and a vehicle that would normally recover pretty well does not. Fished and Chipped, sponsored by Jason's Bits Boys for the Under a Taxi Cab Company. Fished and Chipped takes Lola out, just tosses it over in the corner, eliminated. Wow, that's 2 eliminations already in the round. Next up, Tombstone for the Apex Warriors, sponsored by Stump's Tree Farm. Tombstone tries to slot in and get that ramp going, but goes curbside instead. That could be a big mistake. Latroca for Velvet Storm, sponsored by Jedi. Latroca tries to bury Tombstone, but Tombstone is too wily, flipping over and making the recovery. Latroca now poised in a bad position. Sponsored by Reaper EOD, it is Kit Bean for the Mr. Bean team. Kit Bean, even with that low front, cannot get underneath Fished and Chipped on that hit, but does manage to toss Latroca off the track. Speedbox topples over upside down. Kit is poised perilously. Scrabble, 195 grams, sponsored by Farty Marty. One of the big reasons that the Splitters are ranked number 2, and wow, what a hit on Kit. Kit manages to turn over at just the last second off of the tires, and Fished and Chipped is in trouble right there. Just got knocked off the track. Flying Brian now for Milestone Diecast, sponsored by Judy Collins. Flying Brian takes the flight, takes that ramp. I don't think that ramp's going anywhere anytime soon, but if you're gonna recover, that is how you do it, like Flying Brian. Next car to take the plunge, Plan A for the A-Team, sponsored by Price X Private Parts. Plan A manages a pretty solid recovery after flipping upside down, goes back on top of Scrabble, tries to tangle with him, doesn't get anywhere, and for now is safe. First up for Rollin' Gold, Shellin' It, sponsored by Chicken Rings Onion Wings. Shellin' It bounces off the crates, kind of takes a bad bounce. Did I see a chunk of something flying in the air? Something came off, I don't know what it was. Could have been a chunk of Shellin' It. And we're back around the running order to Rocky, sponsored by Reaper EOD. Rocky takes that ramp and does a pretty good job of sticking the landing. Rocky using Speedbox as the landing pad. And now it's time for Turtle Shell, sponsored by Emo Dingo. Turtle Shell takes the ramp, gets caught up in the safety area, flipping over upside down. Unusual to see Turtle Shell do something like this. That could be a tough loss for Numbskull. Here comes another taxi, the Custom 57 Chevy, sponsored by Freywire. And what was that? That was just strange. The taxi goes into the safety area, pops Turtle Shell out, and it goes upright next to the other Turtle Shell. Looks like both of those cars are probably right side up at this point, but the taxi face down? I don't know what's going on there. Big Dragon, sponsored by Farty Marty. Big Dragon takes the jump and saves the 57 Chevy. Just enough force to topple it over. And now we definitely got both turtle shells back. Eruption for Velvet Storm. Eruption takes flight using those wings to stay steady and pretty much gets the recovery. Cabby Bean, sponsored by Dr. Gonzo. Cabby Bean gets all the way to the crate, slams back, turns around, and then goes, about 45 in for the moment, I'd say, and Eruption looks safe. Also Fished and Chip seems to have recovered. Axe for the splitter, sponsored by Hendrika's Heavy Hauling. Axe takes off, goes into the crates, bounces back, and does the recovery up just fine. Latroca now is sideways. I think I missed when that happened, but yeah, it's out. And that hit actually starts to turn that 57 Chevy over again. The Undercutter, sponsored by the Mad Brit King. The Undercutter does not undercut Scrabble. I'm not sure anything really can. Something must be able to, but it is not the car. It does make a great recovery, though, over on Axe. Let Her Rip, sponsored by Judy Collins. Let Her Rip also cannot get the undercut and hits that Chevy, which has been taking a lot of hits down there, and keeps steady for now. The Chevy, though, is finished off. That'll be a loss for the taxis. Lucky Duck, sponsored by Judy Collins. Lucky Duck proving pretty lucky there, bounces into the safety area, goes off of its head, and makes the recovery. Fantastic agility on that duck and roll. Charlie up now for the Dogfighters, sponsored also by Judy Collins. Charlie takes flight. Oh wow, that was a bad landing. Gets a little mixed up with some of the other cars, nowhere to go. Right now, sideways. 104 gram ain't fair for Numbskull, sponsored by Chicken Rings Onion Wings. Ain't fair slaps the crates, boinks backwards, goes upside down, and is finished. The Scrabble ramp takes another victim. Time for another taxi, it's the Cockney Cab 2. Cockney Cab mashes into the crate, spins, and makes the recovery. Turns around the last second, flips over, a lot of bobbling and bibbling, but makes it happen. Green Goblin, sponsored by Jedi. Green Goblin just kind of flops right off the ramp, goes into the safety area, and settles in. A perfect level landing that would make Willem Dafoe proud. Batmobile for Velvet Storm. Batmobile takes the leap and bounces off the crates, goes upside down. That is going to be most likely an elimination for Velvet Storm. Bean Mini V3, sponsored by Hey Hey's Hatchback Hangar. The Bean Mini bounces off the crates and does what many other cars have been managing to do and makes that recovery. Sticks it for now, though it looks a little off kilter. Mystery Oiler for the Splitters. Mystery Oiler takes its teammate's ramp and does not have a good time of it. The sticky bumpers don't even save it. It does manage to take out the Cockney Cab 2 on the way over. That's going to be a tough loss for the taxis. Buster Bust for Milestone, sponsored by Coffee Run. 200 gram smash into the crates, comes back and actually saves Charlie with that hit, pushes Mystery Oiler down farther, does not cause any more recoveries or eliminations, and it looks close to elimination itself. Ramrod, sponsored by Chome. Ramrod just kind of flops off that jump and keeps it nice and level, and that is going to be a survive for the moment for the A-Team. High Life for Rolling Gold, sponsored by Pick Your Sticker. High Life, a nice square hit into the crates, bounces back, doesn't do anything too wild, and stays alive. And it does look like Buster Bust is definitely done. Here comes Jack, sponsored by Judy Collins. Jack also hits the crates, bounces back a little bit rough, and goes upside down next to the Batmobile. That looks like a tough position to recover from. Scrabble's ramp may have just claimed another. Origin Express, sponsored by Stump's Tree Farm. You can see by the beat up front of this vehicle, it's seen some action. It collides with the crates and goes, wow, that is close right there. That looks like it's to survive, at least for the moment. No other damage on the landing. Jackhammer, sponsored by Stump's Tree Farm. Jackhammer speeds off that ramp and bounces all the way back out of the pile, but cannot make the recovery despite all that. So close, but just can't quite get enough impetus. Peters out at the end. PhD Flopper, sponsored by Chome. PhD Flopper slams into High Life and bounces off it, does not even make it to the wall, loses the undercutter off the front of the car. That just breaks right off, and it looks like it's still live though. Purple Passion, sponsored by PriceX Private Parts. Purple Passion takes a nice bounce off the crates, uses Ride Gin as sort of a stabilizing point, and there it landed, right side up. Glowbean, sponsored by Chome. Glowbean, wow, that was a crazy reaction with the crates. It bounces off all the cars, goes all the way over to the side, hits the fence, and makes a great recovery. Bean Team happy about that. Bambalance up for the splitters, sponsored by Stump's Tree Farm. Bambalance kind of sticks to the ramp, magnetized to it, but then tips right at the very end. And I don't think that's exactly what the splitters had in mind for that. That could be the end of Bambalance unless it gets out of there. Low Slider, sponsored by Tribble's Troublemakers. Low Slider was great at taking down ramps in its qualifier, but this time the ramp defeats it and it flips over and gets eliminated. Bambalance, on the other hand, makes the recovery, and it looks like this design actually did pay off. Takeoff A, sponsored by Star Corps Industries. Takeoff A flips over, goes sideways, gets stuck in the pile, and it might be doomed. Tax Dodge, sponsored by Star Corps Industries. Tax Dodge smashes into Takeoff A, tries to drive back and escape this pile of cars that is getting increasingly larger, stays upright. Lily, we are back around the run, 10 cars left. Lily, sponsored by Coffee Run. Great recovery by Lily, spinning around and facing the other direction. Little bit of a weird spot to be, but so far so good. Lamelt, sponsored by Hendrika's Heavy Hauling for Numbskull. Lamelt flops into the pile and keeps it nice and level, as Lamelt likes to do. So far so good. Purple Passion, sponsored by PriceX. Purple Passion, wow, that was a fast run, smashes into the crates and then kind of sinks out of view. Don't think it recovered, looks like it is sideways. Bad Daddy, sponsored by King Jester. Bad Daddy takes the ramp, doesn't have too much speed and manages to keep level, smacks into Lamelt, who manages to also remain alive. Electrac, sponsored by Stump's Tree Farm. Electrac, whoa, hits the crates hard and goes, I think, sort of sideways. Looked actually close to 45. Man, that is a rough position right there. Electrac was a good car for Velvet. That's why they're here. Bean 500, sponsored by Sean's Toy Room. Bean 500 bounces all over the place, gets out of the big pile, and finds a place to land it. That is exactly what you'd want to do. Small car does a trick. Supercharge, sponsored by Sicken. Supercharge hits that magnet and kind of slows down, goes off to the right just slightly. That is looking pretty close to sideways though. Backslide, sponsored by Chome. Backside finishes off Supercharge, flopping it over at the top of the heap, and then slides back down to relative safety, whatever safety you can find in this insane pile. Here comes the big one, 199 gram Bay Street Bully, sponsored by Stump's Tree Farm. Oh man, that is a tough loss for the A-Team. Bay Street Bully cannot handle the ramp. The pile just kind of flips it over. It finds an unfortunate opening over on the right, and there's no chance at recovery. Cheddarbox, final car of the round, sponsored by Jason's Bits Boys. Chatterbox slams into the crates and flips it over, and I think makes the recovery for Rolling Gold. Man, oh man, this is a big old pile. Yep, that's definitely looking like a recovery there. 19 eliminations, and we're gonna have to take one measurement. From this angle, it looks like Electrac is safe. And the Raijin Express is just beyond 45 degrees. That will be a loss for Numbskull. 20 cars eliminated in that round, and Rolling Gold had none of them. All 4 other teams on this page lost 2 each, down to 3. The Under a Taxi Cab Company was hit hard in that round, just down to Fished and Chipped. Numbskull lost 3, Dogfighters and Velvet lost 2, and Apex Warriors looking pretty good, only lost 1. Round 2, we'll start off with Chatterbox for Rolling Gold. What a great first round for Rolling Gold. They are looking great right now. They survived that massive death pile in the first round. And now PhD Flopper lines up and does manage to get its ramp in place, its lo-fi ramp. Backslide chooses not to take that ramp though and flips Chatterbox over using PhD Flopper as sort of a weapon. And now, wow, look at the ramp that's set up. Backside extra low to the ground. And Eruption gets some massive height off of that ramp, flies all the way up to a 6. Haven't seen height like that yet in this round. And then makes the recovery, flipping over and getting as far away as it can from all the chaos about to go down. Kit Bean hits the backslide and does not make a recovery this time. Flips over, goes out, is finished off. That'll be a loss for Bean Team. Bambalance, wow, doesn't take the ramp, kind of breaks the ramp right there with that lever on the bottom, pushes it forward, and I don't know what's going to happen on this next hit, but it's going to be interesting. Charlie tosses Bambalance off the track kind of gently, and then just hangs out and waits for the next hit. Ramrod tosses Charlie off the track, starts to go off about halfway itself. PhD Flopper avoids getting eliminated, and Chatterbox struggles but can't quite make the recovery happen. Numbskull's Turtle Shell performs a takedown. Ramrod gets lofted into the air, rams into the crates, and goes upside down. Meanwhile, Turtle Shell makes the recovery happen. Nice run for Numbskull. Under a Taxi just down to Fished and Chipped, and so far that's just fine. Fished and Chipped makes a pretty good landing. Not completely out of the woods, but it's pretty safe. Lucky Duck hits that ramp. That ramp is pretty well locked in right now. Lucky Duck has no problems with it though. Not getting many eliminations with the ramp this time around. Only 1 so far. Big Dragon also survives the ramp. There's plenty of places to land right now. That probably helps. Chatterbox makes another attempt at recovering and sinks down. It's done. Flying Brian goes into the crates, bounces back, bad bounce, no recovery. Flying Brian is done. Hits a 6 though on the way there. And that'll be a loss for Milestone Diecast. Electrac goes zooming into the sky, and I think we might have just gotten a bigger jump. Yep, that's a height of 7 this time. Electrac gets the highest leap of the day and survives it, landing over by the fence. Great recovery. Ooh, Glowbeam does not have the same success with the recovery like in round 1. Kind of flips around, just can't quite get back upright again, and that'll be an elimination for the Bean Team. Axe uses that pointy front to bounce back off the crates, flip it around, and make the recovery happen for the Splitters. Now that jump is starting to get a little off kilter there. This could come into play. The jump is still a little bit up in the air, but Rocky still takes it, flips over, and gets eliminated over by the safety area. A spin, gets caught up, it's done. And there it is. Let Her Rip manages to latch on to the back of the jump. Kind of gets wedged in there, and that may be preventing that jump from being effective now. Lamelt lurks into position, and now we're starting to get a line back. That has not really happened much in this match so far. Tax Dodge forces Let Her Rip off the jump after all, and that might make that jump active again. Maybe enough cars to prevent it, though, from being much of a force, as Tombstone gets in the line, and now it is backing up again. The undercutter slides underneath Tombstone and spins out, bouncing off the back of the van. No eliminations, but Lamelt is tipping. Purple Passion causes some damage, knocks undercutter over and out. Tombstone uses axe to stay right side up, although it is close to 45 right now. Bean 500 plops into the back of Purple Passion, flips over, and self-eliminates. Does manage to take out another one for Duck and Roll, though. They started with 5, and they have lost 2 already. Scrabble slams into the line. Cars are flying everywhere. And look at that. Bean 500 manages to make a recovery after being upside down on the track. Purple Passion not so lucky, and Lamelt is about sideways. Bad news for Numbskull. Lily takes Scrabble's ramp. Scrabble has set up the ramp whether or not Backslide wants it. And oh no, a bad landing for Lily. Lily goes upside down. The Dogfighters needed that car. That is how they got here. Rough loss for them. Plan A takes the jump, goes into the crates, bounces around, spinning a lot, but there is nowhere to land, and the recovery does not happen. That'll be a loss for the A-team. Shelling it leaps into the air and lands it perfectly, spinning around, but just having great balance. Hits a 6, and the other good news is Tax Dodge made a recovery a couple hits ago, so Rolling Gold is looking pretty good again. Bad Daddy takes the jump, keeps it nice and steady. Bad Daddy keeps it steady. Like the way that sounds. High Life ramps it, bounces back, gets caught up in a little bit of a pickle, and turns sideways. Still might recover if it gets nudged around a little bit, but right now, definitely in trouble. Oh, and there's no other cars coming down. That was the final car of the round, so that will be another loss for Rolling Gold. This round, a massacre for round 2. 14 cars were eliminated, and I've got bad news for the A-team. Somehow they lost all 3 of their remaining vehicles. It will be the first team eliminated. Ranked 6 A-team is out. Mr. Bean team and Milestone Diecast are down to just 1. The Splitters are steady at 3, and Rolling Gold is down from 5 to 3. Dogfighters fall from 3 to 1. Numbskull is down to just 1. Under a Taxi stays alive. Apex loses 1 down to 3, and Velvet Storm loses 1 down to 2. There's 9 teams still in this match. 3 of them still have 3 cars, but all of the other teams are still alive. We'll finish up the Custom Joust in next week's episode. After that, it's a brand new season of Junkyard Joust that's going to be kicking off. Now's your best chance to get some sponsored cars. Most of those sponsorships happen during the qualifiers, so become a patron now for your chance to see your sponsored car make it all the way to the finals. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Joust.